is, it's 9:56. Linda.
I do want to say that I think we should just do it and not hire somebody. It looks, I mean, Kathy or somebody would be okay, but I don't know, it kind of makes us look bad that we can't, do this official duty. I mean, it is a hassle. It's a hassle for all of us, whether we have stuff to do there or not. It's a hassle. But I'm in the group that for just doing it.
Well, I will check out all of the options, and
let's think about the future elections too. When we think about this one, and just go, we're going to do elections, and we're going to have a system to do elections, and this is our first one, and there's some turbulence involved in the staffing that we were unaware of. But let's just think about future elections that we're going to be in Bluff, and figure out a way to do it. We pay every year for elections anyway, so us paying for elections doesn't seem to be a reflection on anybody to me, Linda. It's just we're trying to get a municipal function done, and the question is, do we want to use staff commission time, or do we want to hire somebody? And for me, it seems to me it's a wiser use of time to hire someone.
I agree.
well, I'll look at the
I like the idea of hiring somebody locally just to keep the money in the town. If, it's one way that seems like it still seems odd. I think it's part of the access to voting or something that has changed this up, that's 2 blocks to the post office, or you can come on a day, you can vote in person. I don't know. It's just got to be something that will work itself out, I'm sure. But for this particular election, hopefully we can hire somebody like Kathy or Ed or Carol or somebody in town that wants to just get a few hours. But
that's what I'm thinking.
Well, since I will check out all the options, and we can vote on Tuesday what we want to do. In the meantime, we'll need to cover the rest of this week, and I won't be here Monday or Tuesday physically.
I think Linda's got Monday and I have Tuesday.
so what days aren't covered? Like, you're there today for the open in-person voting? Is that how it turned out?
Right, because there is no in-person voting today. We needed to cover the drop-off ballots. So Linda's taking Monday, and Brant, you're taking Tuesday?
So who has Thursday and Friday? Tomorrow?
I have Friday.
All day.
So Linda has Thursday, Jim has Friday, Linda has Monday, Brant has Tuesday. Wednesday, San Juan County has it because it's in-person voting. So then we're down to down to 8 days of coverage.
And I cannot do the 16th through the 21st, but I can do after that. Or I can trade somebody Monday for later in the week.
Blue, I'm flexible, so if Tuesday works good for you next week, I can do it, either this week or, tomorrow again if we don't have anybody, or day or whatever till we get lined up. If you want to do Tuesday, I'll swap with you on Tuesday next week.
Okay.
So okay, are you swapping Tuesday? Because my suggestion is that it sounds like 3 of you probably have the vote to do this by hiring somebody, but we can't vote on it today. We need to do it on Tuesday. So if we get us through Wednesday, which we do with San Juan County, then it would be the 16th, 17th, 20, 21, 23, 24, 27, 28 that we have to cover one way or another. And if the three of you vote to hire somebody, because we can do that and we can hire just anyone, then that'll be on people who are here in town to make those arrangements, because I won't physically be here. So do you just want to get through to next Wednesday so we can see what happens Tuesday night?
I'd like for it to be a 5-0 vote,
You'd like for what?
to be a 5-0 vote on Tuesday night.
It won't. It won't be, Grant. I think it's too risky for all the voting regulations that people are under and scrutiny. But it's not. But that I will check to make sure that we can do it that way, and then I'll give you the options that there are. I will have.
So if you find out today that we have that option to hire somebody, then I'm happy to cover the end of the month. Will be easier for me than Monday or Tuesday. But I'm also a fill-in. I can swap if something comes up with either of you guys. But if we're going to have to do the rest of that, I can do a chunk. I can do a big chunk at the end.
So, Linda, we'll keep our stuff the same. You do Monday, I'll do Tuesday. Is that good?
Yeah, I have to do Monday. Thank you, because Nathan's surgery is Tuesday, so I don't. The rest of the week is unknown for me. Thanks. So.
Good luck with that, Nate. And we'll plan on Monday. I'll do Tuesday.
Okay, so just a reminder that if we were to cover it ourselves, it would be 3.4 days for each of us. I've done, at the end of today, I will have done my 4 days. So when I'm leaving, I'm not leaving my days undone. I will have done mine. So I will follow up and report back on Tuesday. If I know anything sooner, I'll send an email and let you know. But on Tuesday, I'll definitely either have an answer or not have an answer. And then we can decide what happens from Tuesday on.
That sounds good. I appreciate y'all thinking about it. Is there a way to deputize somebody if we don't have a credentialed person? Exactly right. Just check that out too, Mayor.
Maybe somebody else should make this call. In fact, I think probably somebody else should do it so that all the bases are covered that people want, and it's not just coming from me. So who would like to make the call? It would probably go to Lyman Duncan, because he's the election official, and ask all these questions. Okay, so give him a buzz, ask all the questions that you think you need to ask, and I'll just move on.
Should our manager, I don't want to delegate things, but would that be a manager? Would she have more of an idea of what we're looking at for responsibility?
No, the manager is not an elected official. I want it to be an elected official that makes this call. No offense, Aaron, but this is something that we're trying to sort out as a council, and I don't want it shifted to somebody else. I want one of us to make that call, and So find out what you can, and then we can all figure it out. Shall we shift back to, does anybody else have anything on vacations and time off so maybe working with Aaron to get things on the calendar, and then I need to learn how to use the calendar. I don't even know how to find it. So that'll be the other thing.
I'll be out of town 17th through the 21st. No, actually through the 22nd.
Of June?
Yeah.
See, for me, that's really good to know, because, I need to get checks signed and stuff, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, the calendar will be a nice tool.
Yeah, it will be. Thanks, Aaron, for getting that set up.
Sure thing. I'll send that out to everyone today with just those few instructions.
So shall we go back to number 2, Dr. Barentine's? So how do we want to just start on page 1 and talk about what the recommendations are and goals? And how late do people want to go? Do you want to stop at 10:30? Do you want to go a little longer than 10:30?
Let's get it done.
I will have to stop at 11 because I have
Yeah.
another
I think
meeting at 11.
I think some of these recommendations that he's making are very straightforward. It's like change vocabulary, change some of the clauses. These are not something that we're going to really have a big discussion on. And frankly, I think that someone could just go through and eliminate a lot of the corrections or suggestions that he makes. Just put them in, and there probably, I think somebody estimated maybe a dozen things that would need discussion, but no more than that. So it would be very helpful if those edits were just completed, and which they are. They're just straightforward edits, vocabulary changes and so forth, and then just enumerate the areas of discussion that might be a problem. And at that point, we might want to have a joint meeting with P&Z just so that we get on the same page on this. If we do it independently, we're not going to hear their side and vice versa. And we're just going to have to go back and forth with them anyway. So it would be best to narrow it down to about 12 areas of discussion, if possible, or fewer, and have a joint meeting with P&Z and hack it out.
Yeah, when
I
you
like-
read the his notes,
Come on.
explanation notes, it talks about the modernization of the code, and so modernization should just automatically occur, I think.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think Jim's talking about. I do like the public nuisance trespass idea, but I agree. I think a lot of it is vocabulary, semantics, and modernization with just a few contentious points.
So my thought is we either need to go through page by page and look at his suggestions, and then, on the edits, just say agree, or comment that, hey, we don't know about this part. Or we need to just kick it back to him and say, go for it. We trust you totally. Give it to us. But this way we can see what he's changed. And so if we comment on it, then P&Z can see our comments. They can see his comments. Everybody sees from the start, because the original ordinance is here, plus his comments, plus his explanations for why. It's really well done, in my opinion, because you can get his feedback right off of this document. So if we take all of that out and make a new document, it'll be harder for him to see what we've done and what we're trying to change. So I think it'd be better just give it to him. Yeah, go ahead.
So I do have the ability to edit the document when we pull it up in Google Docs. I think I see, from a logistical standpoint, it makes sense to change the vocabulary only. Those are pretty straightforward shifts, and we could easily have a blanket statement that said, we changed, manager changed this many iterations of the particular term, and we could just have that. That'll clean it up a significant amount. And then either from there or before that, you can go through for the items that do need to be discussed. I don't know if it's worth the time to send it back to him to request it be cleaned up, seeing as I know he's, we're paying for that. And I would be happy to help with that cleanup.
The difficulty with doing any cleanup before planning and zoning sees it is planning and zoning won't have that document to work from then. So if we're talking about the cleanup being the optional changes based on dark sky best practices, which is that kind of yellowish color. Okay. So if those were all taken out, planning and zoning wouldn't know that those are there. So I think we need to do something with planning and zoning first.
So Ann, what they do when I'm at their meetings is they pull up the Google Docs, and then in the suggestions, they put it out there, but they leave the document intact until, as a group, we say, yep, fix that. And then somebody just takes and erases that and deletes that part and adds the thing. And then everybody's agreed. And then you go to the next page and the next page. And then we could do that as a final thing with them, and all this would still be here.
Because
So-
there's so much disagreement, perhaps it would be best if we just schedule a joint meeting with planning and zoning and just go through from beginning to end and just get this done.
That's true. That would work too. Just do it page by page, edit and finish the edit, and then send it back to them. But do it jointly with them if they created it originally and have a good sense of it. That's fine too.
Are they meeting this week or is it next week?
Next week is their regularly scheduled one, and I haven't seen an agenda.
And that's on Wednesday, right? 15th?
Wednesday at 6 is when they normally meet. So it would be Wednesday the 15th at 6.
And they wouldn't meet again until the 29th.
They wouldn't meet on the 29th. It would be the 6th, and they probably wouldn't meet that day. It'd
They
probably
don't
be
have a
the
meeting the 6th. The next one would be the 20th of July.
Right. Right. If we do it on one of their regularly scheduled ones, when they don't meet, like around the 4th of July, they're always willing to, book another meeting. So we could do it at the end of the month. Well, we could do it at the end of the month. I mean, at the end of June.
What's our deadline? What's our timeline to get this in place? End of June?
We don't really have a timeline. These are the revisions that are basically focused on getting our ordinance in line with the International Dark Sky application. I mean, technically we'd want to have it in by December 31st because we don't want to go into the 2023 revisions for the International Dark Sky application. But it's not like we're up against a time frame to get the revisions other than to get it to Dr. Barentine to end the contract and be able to pay him. He'd like to be paid. So
Mayor, what do you think?
we could try, we could see if planning and zoning could get together that maybe sometime from the 23rd to the 29th, see if we could get people together, 23rd to the 30th, see if
That works fine, other than do it separate times so we could go through it all together.
right, and then we
Yeah.
could tell Dr. Barentine what we accept and what we don't. And in the meantime, Erin, is it possible that this is on Google Doc, we can take out the edit mode so that nobody can edit, but that we could individually go through and make our suggestions between now and then?
Yeah, so my recommendation would be to use the comment feature. I believe I have the ability to, so edits become suggestions. So I think I can share it in a way that it's just, you can make suggestions as opposed to changing it. Because I do want to be able to capture I think it's important to capture the thoughts without having to redo it and have 10 different versions out there. So yeah, I'll share it again. So look for another email that should just have the sharing capability.
Okay, and so then we would just go in, hover over what we're wanting to make a comment on and then put the comment in.
I believe so. I will test it and include instructions if that is not the case.
So why don't you and I try to do a test at some point this week and give it a shot. I'll go through and try to go through some of the document, and then we can see if it's working. My fear is that I'll go into something that changes something, and I don't want to be changing anything. So
Yeah.
We should all agree not to make any edits.
right.
Right.
So no
But
edits.
right now, and if I'm in Google Docs, I can edit it. So if you're the owner of that, Erin, you can adjust it when you share it. But you know, on the PDF that you shared, it said open in Google Docs, and I was able to open it. Now, whether that makes me the owner or not, I don't know. But
If anybody,
No, that's just
PDF, so it's not like it would lose anything. Even if I commented away here, it would still be on the original PDF.
No, if
yeah,
you're
no,
opening
that's
it up
just your
on
version.
town, if you're opening it up on your town email, Google Docs, it's going to, you're going to only share what it has been determined that you can share. So I think Erin has got the power to do that.
Yeah, so I'll just show you really fast. Let me know when you can see my screen. So I have turned this over to suggestion only. So I have, this is a test, and it comes up as a comment here, and then it's highlighted, or I'm in a different color. So everyone will have a different color assigned to them after their,
What color am I?
I don't know yet. You would have to, you'd put it in and hit enter, and then it'll show it. But and then as the document owner, I should, well, I think everyone will be able to see whose comments are whose.
So this will be another document or another email that you send out, because this one still isn't showing your comment.
Correct. Yep. So it's going to be a separate one that
Okay.
I will be the document owner.
Okay, that'll work. And then, and I have one question for you as far as the timing goes. Don't we have the end of June as the stay of enforcement period?
yeah, and that's a separate issue from what we're working on. But yes, the June 30th, the stay of enforcement ends.
And so this would. Okay.
So we'll just be opening, we'll just be operating under our old document for the, when the
Right.
enforcement is.
Right. This is just the okay. So it's twofold, like we talked about originally. There's two tracks. Track number one is our current ordinance that has the stay of enforcement to June 30th. There's that. This document that we hired Dr. Barentine for was to provide feedback on our current ordinance to be able to meet the language and the requirements of the International Dark Sky application. If we do nothing on our original ordinance, the stay of enforcement expires June 30th. If we're working on this document for Dr. Barentine, that would be a moot point for the time to comply paragraph. So if somebody wanted to wanted to address the length of time stay of enforcement, you would need to do that before the 30th. I mean, you can always go back in and change the date later, let the stay expire and redo it. I mean, you can do that. That's not a deadly thing, but that's a cleaner method of doing it. These are two separate things. He's treating this as though this is what we would put in for the application if he were working with us initially.
No, but it would change our ordinance if we, as we work down through it, we're actually working on our ordinance. So we're sort of considering making changes to it at the same time. So I just wonder if we need to bump that stay like even 30 days so we can figure this part out. Something so.
Let's look at it. Let's look at it at the end of June. Look at that at the end of June, Lou, and to kind of see where we are and that sort of thing. I don't think we need to try to do that this early in June.
Well, we can't do anything here today on it. So I think we've got a plan. Does everybody feel okay with what we're doing working on the Dr. Barentine document? And I will reach out to planning and zoning and see if we can do a joint meeting on somewhere between the 23rd and the 30th.
Mayor?
Yes.
Should we send a little email out to everybody in town, just say, hope everybody's kind of working on this, any kind of reminder, anything about kind of that June 30th, which is kind of what the deadline is currently. And just as a reminder, 1st of June, everybody, homeowners, try to get some stuff changed over. It's just an idea.
Well,
let's
that,
talk,
yeah,
let's
that-
talk about that on Tuesday. And because if we do that, I'd like it to be something we all agree on, the language. So let's put that on the Tuesday list. A few days are not going to make much difference. And I think most people are very aware of it.
I do too, and I just thought it'd be a courtesy to just to kind of send it out and keep our momentum that we have going.
I don't disagree with you. So let me get that on the list for next Tuesday.
but for example, Brent, he recommends 10 years for grandfathered in compliance. The other is still solid, but that's
I
what's
didn't
going
hear
to
you.
cost him.
You broke
Oh, I
up.
said he recommends in this edit, he recommends 10 years for the grandfathered in pieces. So those are the kind of things that we're going to have to look at. And we're saying June 30th on one hand and 10 years on the recommendation. So that's why I say maybe we need to hash through this recommendation, but give a month so that everybody isn't on our back trying to get us to enforce something that we're looking at changing. And the lumen count and all the rest is all what we're working on getting solid. And it just seems like if we push that deadline while we're pushing this other to make some changes, I think we just need to say we're making some changes. We're meeting with planning and zoning. We're going to be looking over the whole ordinance, and keep watching your lights and keep trying to improve. And we're working on the dark sky designation.
I've got it on the agenda for Tuesday, so we can go through all this on Tuesday. Anything else on this? Anything else we need to do? So I just need to go back and look at one thing here.
On just a technical thing, if we agree, do you just want us to edit or comment where we disagree? Or do you want us to put, because like if we're all saying agree, could be, I don't know exactly how that works on the
To me,
edit.
to me, it just makes sense that as you're going through it, okay, so the last person who goes through will have the benefit of the other four of us commenting.
Mhm.
And that person may not have any comments except at the end to say, I agree with the comment. I think if you, and I hate Google Docs. I've made that really clear. So this is going to be hard for me to do. I think I'll have PTSD after that, and I'll have to quit working. But I think that when we go through it, if you see a comment and you agree with it, maybe just say agree and not repeat it. But let everybody know that you're agreeing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, do you know how, Erin, do you know how it works? Like if somebody comments, can you put a little check by it or a like by it or anything like that? Or, because I don't want to cobble it up with so many comments that we can't read what it is.
It's okay. You could just make a comment and say you agree.
Yeah,
Right.
you can just go ahead and do that. I think that's fine. And
Okay.
after looking at it a little bit further, your share permissions, I don't even know if you're going to be able to write in the text. I think you're just going to be able to make comments, but I will
Right.
send out full instructions. So
Yep, that's what I think is just out in the sidebar. There'll just be a list of comments.
the only note is that you don't want to hit check. So as you all are going through it, don't check someone else's comment because that will get rid of it essentially. So don't check it, don't decline it. Just you make your own comments, and then we will go through as you and the planning and zoning to accept those comments.
Right.
Okay, so hopefully we won't have a mess. One
You go first, Dan, so that you don't delete any of ours.
and then you'd all have PTSD. I've been trying to do this paper calendar of tracking what we're talking about in terms of who's not physically in town. So we're all clear until Erin fixes our calendars for us. The 17th through the 22nd, Lou and I will both be physically not here. So that means for check signing purposes, mail opening purposes, and all of that. The other two, please stay in touch with Linda so she knows. Right, we're bad in echo, but so that, yeah, and I will be available with the exception of probably 2 days where I will be somewhere where I won't have any connection at all, but otherwise I'm still available like usual. So texting or calling, emailing.
We'll be fine when you're gone, Mayor.
Oh, I know you will be. Get used to it.
No, I'm
Get
just
used-
kidding. We'll be
Yeah.
fine.
So anything else on the other?
Yeah, could you RSVP that outfit that's going to have the celebration? I think it's on the 19th, and tell them I can be there.
Okay. Thank you very much. There was an invitation only to attend thing with the Bears Ears National Monument, and there's a private ceremony that I wasn't invited to, and then there's a smaller or a larger private thing that I wasn't invited to. Reception. Thank you, but I'm not available, and I asked Jim if he would be available to go on. I was just going to work my way through people till I found someone. So yes, I will RSVP that for you and ask them to put you in the loop.
Thank you.
Thank you for going. And I think that's it, unless somebody has something else. It's 10:27.
Thanks very much, everybody. Good job.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. Okay, thanks. Turning off the
Appreciate it,
remote.
everybody.
See y'all later.
Bye.
Yep, have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.